Hey everybody, welcome to the weekly community Q&A. As always, I'll be answering questions that I got from you guys, either sort of through DMs, community, or in coaching calls. And I have questions in front of me here, so we'll dive right in. So first question is around the offer and should I build out LinkedIn content? And people ask me that, okay, should I be posting on LinkedIn? And there are two ways to think about that. There is creating a body of work, and then there is becoming a brand or an influencer, right? So the first one is something I recommend everybody do. And this is the idea that on your profile, there are sections like featured, right? Which you can actually highlight, three or more uh, articles, videos, things you produced. And so that is a way to build a body of work. So that assumes somebody goes to your profile and they look, and you want to have references to work products or things that you've done that will give me some background on you and again show that kind of body of work. So that is something I do recommend everybody do, right? It's not required, but if you have those things, it's a great thing to do. Build it out once. There really isn't like a date or anything else on there. So once they're there, right? And so it's a one-time commitment to kind of build out a couple of articles, build out a couple of things, and then post them there, right? The other side is building a brand. And this is something that honestly I don't recommend for most people because it is a long process that requires continued commitment. Because the idea is, this one where you have sort of featured content requires somebody to come to you. The brand side is you want to attract people with your posts. You want to be a known figure. You want to be showing up in people's feeds. And the trick there is that, and again, as somebody who's kind of tried this out and looked at it, right? The feeds are always changing, right? The algorithms are always changing. And so what that means is the content that will resonate with people, that will quote unquote go viral, always changes, right? And so it is basically another job where you need to track what's working, figure out how to take advantage of that. You got to watch your own metrics. And if they're going up, it's good. If they're going down, you need to go study what's working, then you have to change your content. So it is a ongoing obligation, right? If that's your idea, right, you want to kind of build a brand and you want to go on a speaker circuit or you want to start your own business, absolutely. Then it's just part of the calculation of is that the time and energy? And you can also, of course, get people to help you with that, right? There are plenty of businesses that help people build brands. But my main message is posting content on a regular basis is another job. So either you need to pay somebody else to do it or you need to be committed for the long term. You can't just kind of whip up a couple articles and then be like, hey, it's a brand, right? It needs constant sort of upkeep and engagement. So body work, featured section on your profile, big fan, brand, totally works, but it is a major time commitment for you to do that. So just keep that in mind. So most people, if you have a day job, if you have a kind of a corporate career like most of you do, it's a lot. So in general, I wouldn't really recommend trying to build a brand unless that is, you're thinking about your next stage, which will require a brand to, again, start your own thing. So that would be my thoughts on LinkedIn content. Next question is around sales. What's the best answer to why do you want to work here in an interview or why company X? And the most important thing here that people tend to miss is why do I want to work here versus your competitors, right? Why do I like it? Just to make it easy these days, AI. Like, oh, I want to work at OpenAI. Why? Well, because AI is going to change the world. I want to be a part of it. Great, great. Okay. That's why AI, that's not why OpenAI, the company, or Google or X or whoever, right? Why this company and why not a competitor? That's the thing that most people miss is, and of these competitors, the reason I want company X is because of your unique value proposition, your culture, your this, your that. That's why I don't want A, I don't want B, I don't want C, right? And that's really the sort of thing that's missing is this idea that I don't just want to move forward into this role. I want you, company X. Like you're my dream company. This is why. And I've thought enough about it that I know why you and why if your competitor called me tomorrow with the exact same offer, I would still go with you because I like this thing, right? That's the honing of why this company. Now, between you and me, does that need to be 100% true if your competitor called tomorrow with a great offer? Maybe you would go to the competitor. But for the purposes of the interview, you need to have an answer that uniquely identifies this company. What is one reason why this company is uniquely positioned to be of interest to you, right? Not the space in general, not the generic company of, oh, well, it's a well known brand. I would love to come here. have a more specific reason why this company, and that is a key differentiator for why do you want to work here, because that's what they're looking for. I don't want somebody who wants to work in our industry. I want somebody who wants to work on my team, on my mission, very specifically. So make sure you have that answer. Okay, two more, actually a couple of sales questions today. So any advice on how to approach comp discussions as part of the interview process? Again, go to the community. There is a whole section on comp in that third block. But basically, just to recap, the game is it's a game of chicken, right? So whoever talks about comp first loses. That's generally the idea. So you want to talk about comp as late as possible. So in general, oh, what do you want from a comp? What are your expectations? Then you say, well, I'd really like to understand more about the role before we get into compensation details, right? Because I'm not only motivated by money, I want to understand, mission and values and all that kind of stuff. Or, well, what is the range for this role? Can you share the range for the role? And if the range is okay, then you just say, I'm comfortable with the range. And again, I'd like to understand more about the role before we get into specifics, right? Just push it down the road. Then when you are at the compensation, make sure you have your three levels, right? So what's the minimum? What's your walkaway dollar? Like if it's not this, I will literally not take it. Decide on that. What do I want? And what would I love to get, right? And so minimum, target, and sort of bonus target, right? And then you start on the top between my target and my bonus target. You start high and then you kind of negotiate, and then presumably you'll end up somewhere around that target, right? But that's the idea, right? Do it as late as possible and make sure you know your three numbers as you go through there. Okay, next one up. It's another sales question, right? I'm an interview with potential team members. What's the main outcome I should aim for? So this is when you're in an interview process and you're going to talk to somebody who is quote unquote going to be on the team, right? So somebody who will work for you. Right. And when you think about that in the context of the decision makers, they are typically not a decision maker. Like their vote doesn't really count. They can be a negator, which means that if they're like, oh my God, that guy was such a jerk, you can lose it. Right. So if they love you, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the job. But if they hate you, you're not getting the job. Right. I mean, that's the kind of way to think about it. So it is one of those that just don't blow it, right? Again, you could impress the heck out of them, but that's not going to make a difference if you didn't do that with the true hiring managers. But if somehow you come across and rub them the wrong way, they can be like, oh, I could never work with that person, and then you're probably not going to get it. So what do you want to do? You really want to focus on how to be a good leader. Where are they? What kind of support do they need? What would they like to see happen? You can talk about how open and transparent you are. You can try to basically create a connection, show that you value their expertise. Just be a good manager. Obviously, not yet, but just ask questions as if you are trying to understand how somebody could succeed as their manager. What do you think the most important things in this role will be for whoever fills it? What are the things you'd like to see them do? Right? What are the key challenges that you would like to see them resolve? Right? What, from a career perspective, how good is the training here? Right? I'm talking about you and your career already. So maybe I can come in and help build more training or something like that. So this is the idea is you're trying to get into their mind as, well, I'd like to work for this person, right? They asked about me. They were concerned about me. They like my opinion. They like my expertise. That's the impression that you're trying to get. Because if they said, yeah, I could work for this person, that's basically what they're going to be asked is, would you be comfortable? Would you like to have this person? Do you think this person could lead this team? And you want the answer to be, yeah, I like them a lot. So again, if you're interviewing with potential team members, again, it's that bond and come across as somebody who would be a good leader. And the way to be a good leader is to be interested in how do you help your team succeed. Okay. And then relationships, right? What's the best way to get others on board with my proposal? And here, again, you hear me repeat themes throughout all these Q&As, right? The theme in this case is back to one of those fundamental concepts of the bank account model of networking, which is deposits and withdrawals. And you want to think about when you're trying to get somebody on board, are you making a withdrawal or are you making it with a deposit? And most people make it a withdrawal, and a withdrawal is when I need something from you. So hey there, here's my proposal. I'm really trying to get through, but I need management support. I would love to get you on board. Would you do that for me? Would you do that for me is a withdrawal request, right? It may be a small one, it may be fine, right, from a balance perspective, but you are asking for a favor. You are asking for you to do something for me, which makes it a withdrawal request. And if you can do enough of those, then you can get your proposal approved. Better way is to turn it into a deposit, basically a deposit. So it is no longer a request. It is a, this is good for you. And so instead, and again, you can't always do this, but if you can, you want to think about what's in it for them. How could this benefit them? So here's my proposal. And I know that you were also thinking about doing this for your team. So I was thinking if we put those things together and we loop in this aspect of the project over here, then maybe we can get you, again, you're having trouble with onboarding, you're having trouble with sourcing, you're having trouble with training, you're having trouble with this relationship. I was thinking if we could get your piece involved here, then we could fix your problem and my problem together. What do you think? And what I just did there was I gave you a way to solve your problem. That is a deposit for you because if you do this, your life gets better, right? So same thing, but rather than, hey, could you do me a favor and just jump on board with this? You figure out how to make a deposit. Hey, if you get on board with this, I think it's going to be good for you. And here's how. What do you think? Would you like to solve that problem for yourself by doing this? Right? So that's the idea. Whenever you can, I think about your ask. Am I asking as a withdrawal? Will you do this for me? Or am I making a deposit, which is if we do this, you gain? And as much as you can, make it a deposit, right? So that's the way to get people on board is come up with a way for it to be beneficial. What's in it for them? Find something and then use that as the selling point. If it comes across as a deposit, it's not only free, you actually gained their trust. You gained additional value that you can then use if you ever do really need the withdrawal in the future. So that's a way to think about how to get people on board with your proposal. Awesome. All right. So those are the questions for this week. I hope everybody has an awesome week, and I will see you in the community. All right. Take care.